What's up, America? Welcome into another episode of Juiced Up right here on GallerySports.com. I am the host, Rachel Von Orania, and this is a show where I like to talk about sports. And nothing is more important in the world of sports, at least not in my world of sports, than the NFL playoffs going on right now. So I've brought in Gallery Sports' very own Fred Faour to talk about it with me. Fred, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to talk about Sunday's slate of games with you, okay? Now, we're going to open up today with the Dolphins versus the Bills. And no Tua Tagovailoa makes this game far less interesting to me, unfortunately. Some dude named Skylar Thompson is going to get the start for the Dolphins. Therefore, the Dolphins are finding themselves as major underdogs in this game. There's a lot of familiarity, obviously, between these two teams being division rivals. The Dolphins do have some good pass rushers on their defense. Fred, do you think that familiarity and maybe the pass rush will be enough to help the Dolphins somehow pull off an upset here? Or how do you see this going?
Oh, no, they're getting murdered. They've got no chance without Tua at quarterback. And it's a shame because this team was playing really well. They've got some great weapons. Tyreek Hill has been a game changer for him. But, without Tua, and even if it had been Teddy Bridgewater, they would have gotten killed. I mean, the Bills are just that much better. And you have to play your best game. Everything has to go right. And that's not going to happen with a 7th-round draft pick at quarterback. And we're actually going to see 2 7th-round draft pick quarterbacks in week 1. And that's just part of the problem with, maybe it's the 17-game season, but you just wear guys out and you wind up with 3rd-string quarterbacks. And this guy's a bum. I mean, he may turn out to be a functional quarterback down the road, but right now he's got no chance of winning this game.
Dang, those are some harsh words, Fred. He's a bum. He's a bum. What if he could end up being the next Brock Purdy, 7th-round draft pick? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about Skylar Thompson.
He was drafted before Brock Purdy.
Shows you how much the executives
know. Maybe a fine quarterback down the road, but we're talking the playoffs. We're talking about a team that should have been the number 1 seed that you've got to play. And yeah, Miami beat them earlier in the year in the heat in Miami with Tua playing out of his mind. I just don't see this kid having that kind of game.
Was that the game where everybody was like cramping? All the Bills players were cramping up in like the second half of the game and leaving the field, or am I remembering this incorrectly?
No, and it was like 175 degrees.
Yeah.
And, early in the season in Miami, they weren't ready for it. And I mean, I think that was one of those things, and they barely won the game. Everything went their way. But in this case, it's so hard to win with a 3rd-string quarterback.
Newsflash, breaking news right there. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next game because I'm not even going to try to give you a reason why I think the Dolphins can upset there. It's not going to happen. But this game is a very trendy upset game. Speaking of, we have the Giants at the Vikings. Okay, Kirk Cousins, most sacked quarterback in football, Fred. And Kirk is going to be playing without his right tackle, Brian O'Neill. He's not going to be in this game, obviously. Now, the Giants defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, he likes to get really creative. He's known for blitzing and really creative stunts. Fred, is the Giants' run game and the pass rush enough to help them overcome the Vikings here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things I expect the Giants to do that Brian Dable will do on offense is let Daniel Jones run because he's very good at doing that. That gives him another element in the offensive game, and then it opens things up for the running backs. The thing about this game is I really like the Giants here. I love what this coaching staff has done in a 1-year turnaround. And when I look at the Vikings and I look at their body of work for the entire season, a lot of close wins, a lot of games where you're just like, wow, they barely got by on that one against teams that just weren't very good. And if you look at the Giants from week 1 when they beat the Titans, they've won a lot of these games. And so if it winds up being a dogfight, I really like the Giants here. And it also depends on which Kirk Cousins we get, right? If we get, Kirk Cousins who's on his game, then it's going to be a really interesting matchup. But if we get Kirk Cousins who likes to start throwing interceptions, it's all going to go south pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pressure is so on the Vikings and on Kirk Cousins in this. I was thinking about that before we started the show today. Like the storylines between both teams, if each team wins, will be so different, right? If the Giants pull off the upset, it's great. Dayball coach of the year, like Danny Jones getting a new contract, like he might actually end up being the guy in New York. Like this is a great storyline. If the Vikings lose, the 2 storylines of both teams lose couldn't be more different is what I was trying to say. So the Giants, they would walk away from this still holding their head high, right? The Vikings, on the other hand, you look at Kirk Cousins, and he's been in the league for 11 years, I think, and you're just not really getting anything done late in the postseason. It is just so different how the narrative will be on both of these teams.
Yeah, I think for the Giants, no matter what, moving ahead, this is such a good step forward for them this year. I think the future looks bright for them, and I think they'll continue to improve. The Vikings, I think, did a better job with the new coaching staff, but you still have the same quarterback. And I think that if they lose, that's going to be the story, is can Minnesota win with Kirk Cousins? And I think by now, if they lose this game, we figured out they probably can't.
Final game of the Sunday slate, Bengals versus the Ravens. Man, another matchup where a huge key component is missing from this game, this one being Lamar Jackson. So because there's no Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley's getting the start. The Ravens find themselves as very big underdogs. Now, they're two division rivals, obviously. They know each other very well, so there's that familiarity that I've mentioned before. Joe Mixon comes out with a big statement. He says that the Bengals are the big dogs of the AFC. Do you think that there's any chance in hell that the Ravens defense could somehow help keep them in this game?
Yeah, I think they will. And look, the Bengals are playing as well as anybody right now, so he should be confident. But I also think this Ravens defense has not been as good. And you mentioned Wink Martindale earlier. I mean, they haven't been the same team without him this year, but they've shown a lot of signs, and they've got enough talent on that side of the ball to where if they can slow down the Bengals, have a chance. That they miss Lamar Jackson. And, I've heard a lot of whispers about Lamar this week. And listen, I love that guy, but it is a drop-off. It's just not as huge a drop-off as you would expect. So I do think that the Ravens can stay in this game. I think they can keep it close, but they're going to have to play, outstanding defense. That's where it's going to have to start. And if they can do that, I think they've got a really good opportunity.
Yeah, don't disagree with you there. I'm not betting against Joey Burrow, though. It's just not happening for me. I want to know real quick before we go, because we are up against it. But, Fred, I just want your opinion. Do you have an issue with what Joe Mixon said, claiming to be the big dogs of the AFC? Like, why would you go and give the Bills and the Chiefs any added motivation?
I don't mind it. I like a little confidence. They did win the AFC last year. And, that game doesn't get – well, they weren't going to get the 1 seed, but they could have easily gotten 2. But I don't know about that. I think there's 3 big teams in the AFC. I think it's the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals. And I think those 3 all advance, and one of them's going to the Super Bowl. But I don't know that I could agree with him that they are the big dogs. I still think the Bills are the best team if Josh Allen is right. And we kind of saw some times over the second half of the season where his arm was bothering him just a little bit, and that really took away from him because so much of their offense goes through him. But no, they're not the big dogs, but I don't mind a little confidence every now and then. A little good confidence and trash talk.
I love trash talk. It's good for content's sake. I think when you're the Bengals and their record against the Chiefs kind of speaks for itself. I don't believe that Joe Burrow has lost to the Chiefs at all since he's been in this league. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. With that being said, the Bills are still there. And I don't think you are as good against them as you are against the Chiefs. So it felt like it was directed at the Chiefs, but I think that maybe they were forgetting about the Bills there. Like, still got to prove it. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. I love the trash talking. Fred, thank you so much for joining. That is all the time we have for now. Guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of Juiced Up on GallerySports.com. That is your one-stop shop for immediate insight and information. I am Rachel Von Orania, and I will see you mañana.